Have you ever looked back and realized the most important lessons showed up decades too late? At 89, there's a strange kind of clarity that settles in. Things you once shrugged off now feel impossible to ignore. And if you're anywhere between 55 and 80, you might already sense that quiet inner pull, the one that whispers, "Am I overlooking something important before my time runs out?" In this video, we'll explore 10 hard-earned truths I've come to understand only in my later years. Lessons I desperately wish someone had told me when I turned 60. Some touch on health, others on relationships, and a few strike at the very core of aging with grace, courage, and self-respect. These aren't designed to frighten you, but they might just shake you awake. Because aging has demands no one talks about until you're too deep into shift course. But here's the upside. If you're hearing this now, it's not too late. You still have a chance to choose differently. Stick with me through the end. One or two of these truths could light up a part of you that's been asleep. And if I'd heard this earlier, I'd have changed a lot. Let's begin. Truth 1. Time is a ruthless accountant. You won't feel it slipping through your fingers. That's how it works. It doesn't shout or wave a red flag. It simply moves through your habits, your daily routines, and every "I'll do it tomorrow" you casually toss aside. At 60, you still believe there's plenty of time, and technically, that's true. But what many don't see is that time doesn't just steal your days. It shrinks your freedom quietly, gradually, until your 70s or 80s arrive and your choices narrow to a single path. I've watched friends delay joy, travel, forgiveness, doctor visits, believing there would be a better time. There wasn't. I've done it too. What hurts isn't just the loss of opportunity. It's realizing you let them pass without a fight. Let me tell you about Walter. He was 68, full of stories he wanted to leave behind for his grandkids. He had everything: memories, purpose, the desire, but every month he delayed starting. By 78, his eyesight faded, his focus weakened, and the stories never made it to paper. Not because he lost his voice, but because he ran out of time. His family will never know the depth of his spirit. When I say time is ruthless, I mean it tracks every hesitation and collects every delay. And it always closes the book. So if something in you is waiting, start now. Time is only kind when you don't waste it. Truth 2. Health doesn't collapse, it erodes in silence. Most imagine health crises as sudden: a heart attack, a diagnosis, a fall. But in reality, the decline starts years earlier in tiny, invisible ways. It's slow, patient, and thrives in neglect. At 60, you can still skip the walk, eat the sweets, shrug off stiffness, and think, "I'll handle it next year." But here's the hard truth. Each year you wait weakens the base. And you won't notice it, not at first. But bit by bit, your energy dips. Sleep becomes restless. Your stomach grows fussy. You don't just feel heavier, you feel burdened. And eventually it catches up. Not in theory, but in moments. Like when you hesitate to crouch or avoid stairs, or when your world starts organizing around your weaknesses instead of your strengths. I think of Margaret from church. She was 63 when fatigue crept in during our walks. She blamed age, ignored it. Then one curb, one fall, one broken hip, and her independence vanished. It began with "just a little tired." We dismiss these signs, but they're messages. Your body speaks gently before it screams. And if you won't listen early, you'll be forced to later, on terms not your own. It's not just physical either. Your mind and spirit live in that same body. Sleep, food, movement, they all feed each other. The truth, the difference between thriving at 85 and barely getting by, often begins in your 60s. Your body's not a switch, it's a garden. Neglect the roots now, and in your 80s, you'll be overrun. Those tiny issues today, they're not annoyances, they're invitations. Accept them while you still can. If you're still watching and these lessons are striking a chord, drop a number 2 in the comments so I know you're here with me. And if you haven't already, I encourage you to subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss more of these reflections. Your support keeps this channel going, and it helps us continue sharing wisdom that's meant to guide, not just in form. Now let's keep going. Truth 3. Loneliness isn't fixed by being around people. It's healed by real connection. You can be in a room full of people and still feel completely alone. I've felt it at family dinners, birthday parties, even in my own living room. Surrounded by voices, yet carrying a silent ache. This is the loneliness no one prepares you for. The kind that has little to do with who's around and everything to do with whether anyone truly sees you. In your 60s, life is still full. Work, grandkids, coffee dates, invitations. But activity is not the same as intimacy. Staying busy doesn't mean you're truly connected. Conversations that float on the surface can leave your soul dry. And over time, if you don't nurture something deeper, truthful talk, mutual vulnerability, a place to be your real self, your emotional muscles start to shrink. By your 80s, it gets harder to reach out, harder to open up, harder to even remember what deep connection used to feel like. I remember Richard, always the entertainer, the life of the party, but after his wife passed, said to me, "I don't think anyone really knows me anymore. Maybe they never did." And the silence that followed hit me harder than anything he said. We wait far too long to build relationships that truly matter. We get stuck in small talk, distracted by busyness, convinced we're doing fine. But the older you get, the more you realize how deeply you need just one person who sees the real you. The quirks, the regrets, the hopes, the truth. Without that, loneliness doesn't show up as a bad day. It becomes your reality. And don't fall into the trap of thinking connection will come later. You don't stumble into deep relationships. You build them slowly, deliberately, while you still have the energy to reach out, forgive, listen, and give of yourself. Real connection isn't about being liked, it's about being understood. And I can tell you, most people don't reach their 80s with full hearts unless they cleared space for meaningful relationships decades earlier. So call someone today, say something real, go past "how are you" and ask "how's your heart." It might feel awkward at first, but it's the only kind of company that doesn't fade. Truth 4. Your children will live their lives, not yours. One of the hardest things you'll have to accept as you grow older is this. Your kids, the very people you poured your soul into, will eventually choose lives that move beyond you. That doesn't mean they love you any less. It just means they're human, just as we were. In your 60s, especially if they're grown and finding their own way, you might feel the urge to hang on, offer more advice, stay involved, sometimes to the point of self-sacrifice, thinking it will draw them closer. But here's what I've learned at 89. Your kids won't remember how much you gave up. They'll remember how fully you lived. I've seen so many friends base their entire identity around their grown children, waiting on visits, dropping everything to babysit, never saying no. But when those kids move away, fall in love, or chase careers elsewhere, it feels personal. It isn't, it's just life. I once knew Alice, a kind woman in a retirement home. She raised 4 kids with everything she had. But at 80, she told me, "I don't even know who I am without them." It shattered her, not because her children were unkind, but because she never made room for herself. If you're always pressing pause on your own joy for theirs, you're not creating closeness, you're disappearing. Your kids will make their choices, some you'll love, some you won't, but your worth isn't tied to their direction. What you can control is your own life, your hobbies, friendships, and joy. Show them how to live fully and they won't drift. They'll admire your strength and they'll be free of the burden of carrying your happiness. Truth 5. You can't earn back missed moments with your spouse. This one is tough because by the time most people understand it, it's already too late. When you're in your 60s, you think you have more time to fix what's broken, to plan that trip, to sit quietly together and enjoy each other. But time moves on, even when love stalls. Every time you choose distance over conversation or resentment over forgiveness, you're using up time you can never recover. I've seen couples drift apart after decades, not because of cheating or some huge fight, but because they simply stopped seeing each other. They got so used to being busy or distracted that the connection quietly died. You think it's just a rough patch, but the rough patch becomes the norm. Then the kids leave, the house is quiet, and suddenly, you're sitting across from a stranger. I knew a man named Harold. He lost his wife at 82. At the funeral, he said, "I'd give anything for one more night where I actually looked at her instead of the television." That stayed with me, those little missed chances. Kind words, eye contact, a simple touch. They add up. And once they're gone, there's no redo. Even if your spouse is still with you, they may not be the same. Time, illness, and grief change us. So if you still have the chance, stake it, speak gently, let go of the small stuff. Ask real questions, reach for their hand. Those are the moments that fill the silence when they're gone. And if you've already lost them, or the love between you faded, don't close your heart. There's still time to create new connection, to love again, but first be honest about what was lost and what might still be saved, because we don't run out of love, we run out of chances to show it. Start with the small moments. They're the ones you'll remember. If you're still with me and these reflections are resonating, drop a number 5 in the comments to let me know you're still here. And if you haven't subscribed, now is a good time to hit that button and turn on the bell. We've got more stories and truths coming your way, ones that aim to inform but also to lift you up. Thank you for being part of this journey. Let's keep going. Truth 6, the body keeps the score and sends the bill later. You may feel strong now, capable, like skipping that walk, grabbing that fast food, or ignoring a bit of stress won't make a difference. But your body is keeping track, not loudly, not suddenly, but like a quiet accountant recording every shortcut and stressor you think you've dodged. In your 60s, you can still recover quickly. You can bounce back from poor choices. But what most people don't see is that every small decision is a deposit, or a debt, that comes due later. The joints that ache, the blood pressure that creeps up, the fatigue that won't go away, those didn't appear overnight. They're interest collected on the years you thought you'd deal with it later. The older you get, the more you understand that health isn't just about not being sick. It's about how you feel every day. It's your energy, your balance, your freedom, and what you do or don't do to. A is what determines whether you'll still be walking the neighborhood at 85 or struggling to get out of a chair. I've seen it play out again and again. The difference between a vibrant older adult and one who feels trapped in their own body often comes down to daily habits built decades earlier. So start now, not because something's wrong, but because you still can. Because prevention is the gift you give your future self, and the earlier you give it, the more valuable it becomes. Time to pivot. You can undo more than you realize. You can rebuild strength, reset habits, and rethink how you treat the only home you'll ever live in, your body. But if you don't, your 70s and 80s will reveal the cost in ways you can't ignore. The stiff mornings, the aching joints, the foggy thinking, the growing list of medications. And here's the mistake most people make. They wait until something breaks. But by then, it's not about change anymore. It's about damage control. The time to act isn't when your doctor sounds the alarm. It's now, when your body is still whispering, still giving you clues through stiffness, fatigue, that short breath on the stairs, or the quiet ache in your back. I remember Charlie. At 65, he joked that stretching was for yoga fanatics. He didn't see the point. By 72, he needed help just to get out of a chair. His muscles had weakened, stiffened, shrunk, all because he ignored movement for too long. He thought he had time, he didn't, and the damage wasn't just physical. It crept into his confidence, his independence, even his joy. When walking is hard, you go out less. When digestion slows, you eat less. When you're always tired, you stop laughing. That's how aging chips away at your spirit. Not in one sweeping blow, but in 100 tiny retreats. But here's the good news, your body listens, it responds. Even now, you don't need to become a fitness guru. You don't have to eat perfectly every day. You just need to move more than you sit. Eat food that your grandmother would have recognized. Drink more water than coffee. Breathe with intention. Stretch like you're making room for your future self. And above all, don't wait to feel motivated. Motivation is a myth. What you need is discipline and a vision of the older you who still walks with strength and lives with dignity. The habits you form in your 60s are the ones that will either carry or crush you in your 80s. And if your future self could talk to you right now, they'd beg you, take care of me. I'm counting on you. Truth 7. Most of what you feared never happened, but the worrying still stole decades. Looking back, I can tell you plainly, the majority of things I lost sleep over never came to pass. The financial crises I feared, they worked themselves out. The conversations I dreaded, they passed quickly. The imagined disasters, they arrived softer than I'd ever expected if they came at all. But still I worried endlessly, replaying worst-case scenarios in my head, rehearsing arguments that never happened, bracing for pain that never arrived. That's what worry does. It masquerades as responsibility, as preparation, but it's usually just fear in a clever disguise. It trains your brain to see danger where there is none. I used to worry about my children, who they'd marry, how they'd handle money, whether they'd choose the right career. But you know what? They figured it out, not perfectly, but well enough, and none of my sleepless nights helped them. All they did was wear me down. We think worrying protects us or the people we love. It doesn't. What protects us is wisdom, action, letting go when we must. Worry does none of that. It just eats the hours of your life and gives you nothing in return. And here's the part that stings. Worry doesn't just steal your peace in the moment. It also warps your memories. I missed some of the most beautiful seasons of my life because I was too focused on what might go wrong. You might be worried now about retirement, your health, your family, the world. That's understandable, but ask yourself, how much of that can you truly control, and how much are you rehearsing pain that may never come? The peace you're searching for won't arrive when everything's perfect. It arrives when you learn to stop expecting the worst. So take a breath, go for a walk, laugh more, trust that the strength that carried you this far will carry you again. Because it will, it always has. Truth 8. Your career won't hold your hand when you're sick or scared. For decades, we give our best to our jobs. We show up early, work late, push through holidays and heartbreak. Because that's what strong people do, right? And in some ways, yes, our work shapes us. But eventually, the applause fades, the emails stop, and what's left echoing in the silence is the question, was it worth it? Even in your 60s, you might still be chasing goals. More income, more status, another win. There's nothing wrong with striving, but don't make the mistake of thinking your job is your identity. Because one day it ends, sometimes quickly, sometimes gradually, but it ends, and when it does, it won't mourn you. I've watched so many friends retire thinking they'd be missed. Some were forgotten before the ink dried on their exit papers. Others trained their replacements, only to become a fading memory to the teams they once led. It's not cruel, it's just how the world works. The machine keeps running. There was a man I knew, Gerald, worked 35 years with the same company, skipped birthdays, canceled vacations, always the first in and the last out. When he was diagnosed with cancer at 73, he told me, I thought they'd send someone, maybe a card. They didn't. That realization broke him more than the diagnosis did. Jobs give us structure, sure, but when your health fails or grief visits, or you're just feeling the loneliness of aging, it's not your resume that comforts you, it's people, it's relationships, it's who you are without a title. If you built your identity around productivity, retirement can feel like exile. But it doesn't have to. Start now. Build friendships, discover hobbies, create routines that don't rely on being needed at work. Because when life gets quiet, it's not your job that sits beside you. It's your peace of mind. And that's who you want at your side when things get hard. Not your accolades, not your email history, just you, whole, present, alive. If you're still here and these truths are landing for you, drop a number 8 in the comments to let me know. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you do. There's more ahead, and I want to make sure you don't miss any of it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you do that now. Hit the bell too, so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. Your support helps us keep creating content that informs and inspires. Now, let's move forward. Truth 9. If you don't downsize your ego, life will do it for you. You spend the first half of your life trying to prove yourself to your parents, your peers, your boss, maybe even your own reflection. And that drive, that ego, it isn't always a bad thing. It pushes you through school, helps you build a career, raise a family, make a name. But here's the truth, ego only helps until it starts hurting. The older you get, the more you realize that unchecked pride becomes a prison. It stops you from asking for help. It keeps you from admitting when you're wrong. And worst of all, it convinces you that needing others is weakness. That illusion it'll cost you more than you can imagine. I've seen men in their 80s fall and tell no one. Women who couldn't carry groceries but refused assistance. People who'd rather suffer than admit they couldn't drive or manage stairs anymore. They didn't want pity, they wanted dignity. But what they didn't understand is this dignity doesn't come from pretending to be unbreakable. It comes from knowing when to lean. I remember Frances. She was 76 when her doctor told her to start using a walker. She said, "I'm not that old yet." But a few months later, she fell outside the pharmacy and broke her wrist. She needed that walker long before the fall. It wasn't her body that failed her, it was her pride. Your ego might whisper, "They'll think I'm weak." But real strength isn't about needing no help. It's about knowing when to ask. There's power in saying, "I can't do this alone." There's even more in letting others show up for you, and it's not just physical. It's how you apologize, how you grieve, how you adapt to losing influence, status, or even just control over the little things. The world isn't trying to humiliate you as you age. It's offering you a new kind of grace. But if you keep measuring yourself by who you used to be, aging will feel like punishment. Ego wants the spotlight. But in your later years, life rewards humility, so let people help. Let your identity evolve, let yourself be seen, not as the one who could do it all, but as the one wise enough to know what truly matters now. Because the smaller your ego gets, the more room there is for peace, for connection, and for growth. The things that make aging rich, not empty. Truth 10, you won't feel old at 60, but you'll regret waiting until you do to act like time matters. Here's the strange thing about getting older. It doesn't announce itself. You don't wake up one day and say, "Well, that's it. I'm officially old." It creeps in slowly, quietly. At 60, you might just feel a little slower, a bit stiffer, but you're still sharp, you're still moving, you still feel like you've got time. And that's what makes this truth so dangerous. Because when you feel that good, it's easy to believe there's no rush. That there's still time to get serious about your health, your relationships, your dreams. But no one tells you how fast 60 becomes 70, and 70 becomes 80. You think you're coasting, but the terrain beneath your feet is changing. You don't feel old until you do, until the stairs seem longer, the energy runs out faster, the recovery takes more time, and by then, some of the doors you thought would stay open forever start to close. I remember my neighbor, Ron. At 62, he kept saying he'd take his wife on a cross-country trip once he felt retired enough. By 68, she was diagnosed with early dementia. By 70, she didn't know his name. They never took that trip, not because they didn't want to, but because they waited. 60 is a turning point. It's your last chapter where most of your faculties are still intact. Your options are wide open. Your body still responds. That's the time to realign, but most people don't. They wait for a wake-up call, and when it comes, it's not always gentle. I've heard it over and over. "I wish I'd done this sooner. I didn't realize how fast things would change. I thought I had more time." So if you're in your 60s or even your 70s and you're still feeling good, that's not a sign to relax. It's a sign to act, to build the habits, the memories, the strength that will carry you through the next chapter with dignity, not desperation. Don't wait until you feel old to start living like time matters, because when that moment comes, you may already be racing the clock, Final thoughts, looking back on these 10 truths, one thing becomes clear. Aging doesn't just happen to your body. It happens to your priorities, to your relationships, to your memories, to the lens through which you see the world. And the earlier you see that, the more power you have to shape what comes next. Not just to live long, but to live well. What stood out to you the most today? Was it the quiet erosion of health, the slow drift in marriage, the trap of building your entire identity around your job or your kids? Whatever it was, hold on to it. Let it settle, and more importantly, do something with it. You're not too late, not even close. Whether you're 60, 70, or pushing 80, you still have time to live with more intention, more awareness, and more care for what actually matters. Because none of these truths are meant to scare you. They're here to free you, to remind you you're not powerless. You're just in a chapter that asks for a different kind of strength. So start today. Make one small change, reach out to one person, forgive one grudge, take one walk, eat one better meal, say one honest thing you've been holding in for too long. Life won't give you back what's been lost, but it will reward what you begin now, with clarity, connection, and peace. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts matter to us. Reading your comments keeps us motivated and encouraged. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us keep creating content that informs and inspires. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.